Hey guys, sorry. So, hello. It is Tuesday, November 23rd. I'm about 5 minutes late. I usually try to come on at 3:30, uh, but sometimes I see squirrels. Uh, so today I thought I would just kind of give everyone an update on what's going on at the courthouse. Uh, I think the last time I discussed what was going on at the courthouse. It was right after the fire, which had sort of shut the building down as far as normal usage goes for several weeks, and of course that came on the heels of COVID, uh, and so that put us in a bind as far as having court, having jury trials, and whatnot. So. I kind of thought I could update you about what's going on now. And so where we are is that all the repairs have been completed. Basically, all but one court are fully open, and all defendants required to appear for each setting. There are some courts where we can make other arrangements, but for the most part, the courthouse is wide open again, and we're able to go in and out as normal. Jury trials are still sort of delayed. The frequency has been cut down. We're still today doing jury selection in the big room, in the jury assembly room, which is, a difficult situation because we're so far apart from all the potential jurors that it makes it hard to interact with people and see their facial expressions and that type of stuff. But it is back in operation. Now, the current plan, I believe, is to go back to fully normal starting in January, meaning we'll be doing jury selection back inside the courtroom, which is much better for us and for the state, frankly, for everyone involved. It's much better when you can see people's facial expressions uh, and, just generally read people's body language. I think both sides appreciate that, not just the defense. So the current plan, like I said, is to go back to that in January. Of course, that could get shut down if there was another COVID spike or some other situation that we can't foresee. But that's the current plan, and I think a lot of us are sort of actually looking forward to that. Now, another little sort of update with respect to that is a lot of you call and want an update on your case, and sometimes we just don't have anything new to tell you. And I'm going to sort of give you some insight as to why that's happening. They are short staffed at the DA's office right now. And when I say short staffed, I mean attorneys short staffed. They have a lot of vacant positions, uh, which has made, for instance, in misdemeanor, sometimes one person responsible for the entire docket, which is a lot to handle for one person. A felony chief recently left the office, and they have not yet hired or promoted anyone in that court to chief. So we have at least one court with no chief prosecutor. We have another court where the chief prosecutor is out on maternity leave. We have another court where a felony chief will soon be going out on maternity leave. Uh, Recently, we had a prosecutor in special crimes out on paternity leave because it's a man and his wife had a child. So he got time off for the birth of their child. And so while he was gone, no one was covering his docket. Uh, the court currently without a chief, his trial cases have been spread out throughout the office to different prosecutors. And not the only, but the biggest issue there is that these cases were already on the trial docket. As a matter of fact, they're coming up about the second week in December for trial, and they've now been assigned to someone who's seen the file for the first time and has to learn the entire case and possibly prepare for trial in that short amount of time. So if your case is caught in one of those courts and you call us wanting an update, we don't have one for you, not because we're not working, it's because possibly no one's working on your case across the street. And so it makes our job difficult. You know, I can work as much as I want to work and as hard as I want to work. I cannot force a prosecutor to work, or I cannot force them to fill a space if a prosecutor's not there. You know, I'm dependent upon them running an efficient office, and I can't do anything about it if they don't. So, you know, don't get frustrated sometimes when we tell you that we don't have an update for you. We do actively send emails on all our cases trying to get results. Thomas and I had to step out of the office earlier, and he had been texting a prosecutor, and she finally called him back and, you know, made a comment about, I just love it when defense attorneys text me while I'm at lunch. And of course, we didn't know she was at lunch, and it was past what we thought lunch hour was. And she wasn't upset about it. She was making a joke. But the point is, she's another one that just got moved into the position. And so she likely hasn't even seen the file we were calling on yet, but we're trying, you know, and she's a good prosecutor and she will look into it. But the point is, we can't always control what's happening across the street. We can only control what's happening in our office. So if we're making requests and there's just no one that can do it or no one there to fill the vacancy, there's not much we can do about it until that position is filled. Now, for a lot of our clients, you know, and if you're watching this, that means you're on bond. And so it's not a huge issue other than living with the stress, but you know, you're not restrained of your liberty. You're not in jail. So it's a little more tolerable. Obviously, we have clients that are in jail, and that's more frustrating when we have someone sitting in jail. And the case we were calling that prosecutor on today, the young lady's in jail, and we're working really hard to get her out, but the prosecutor that she had has now been reassigned because of another position becoming vacant. And so once she got reassigned, anything she had done on the case not went with her, but it just stopped. So now there's a new prosecutor, so we have to get her to do everything we were trying to get the other prosecutor to do. It's just, and unfortunately, y'all can't see that, so you don't know it. And this poor girl sitting in jail, and her family may feel like we're not doing anything and not trying to make the process speed along. We are. It's just that now that the courthouse is back in operation, the DA's office is in a crisis because they don't have enough prosecutors. And I guess they're having trouble hiring new prosecutors. So it's kind of got the whole office in a bind over there, which, you know, sometimes that's good for us. But that's kind of all my little update for today. And like I said, the courthouse is fully functional again. The only thing holding us back are the COVID jury restrictions. But again, at least 2 judges that I've talked to about it are hopeful that that's going to go away, and starting in January we'll be back to normal jury selection and normal jury process, which means we can start trying more cases every month and start moving our dockets along. Because, you know, it's not, some judges care about the age of a case on their docket and like to run an efficient docket and move them along as quickly as possible. Some judges don't care that much. But, you know, as defense attorneys, we have the same issue because I may have cases, I do have cases that we've had for over a year. And while my clients are on bond and not suffering, it is a lot to live with, and they have to think about it all the time. So it is an additional stressor on them. So sure, we'd like to move our cases along as well. So fingers crossed, January we get back to normal trying cases, normal jury selection, and can move on forward. I did not have any questions that I can remember that stood out that anyone wanted me to address on here. Oh, that's not true. And of course, it doesn't matter now because Rittenhouse was found not guilty and the case is over. But before, and I guess this would have been for last week, but I missed it. Somebody wanted me to comment on the Rittenhouse case, but specifically about the judge and that exchange with the prosecutor. So that normally I will not Monday morning quarterback a case or armchair quarterback a case in any capacity because I wasn't there, so I don't really know what happened. And in Rittenhouse, I wish I had had the time to watch the trial, just like Ahmaud Arbery. I wish I had time to watch both of those trials, but unfortunately, I got to work all day. So, but the exchange that somebody asked me about with the Rittenhouse judge, where he was basically arguing with and yelling at the prosecutor, and what did I think about that? And my answer is I loved it. And I don't say I loved it because it was being done to the prosecution. It reminded me of, and only people who have been around for a really long time will remember this, of Ted Poe in Houston when he was a sitting judge. He could be difficult, let's say, but he was equally difficult to both sides. So as a defense attorney, we're used to the judges that treat the state like, they're just another prosecutor up on the bench and treat the defense like crap. That's something we just get used to. But when you're in a judge's court who treats both sides, the prosecution and the state, equally, whether it's yelling at you or treating everyone professionally, it just makes the whole process much better, at least from the defense perspective, because we're not also fighting the judge. If you're in one of those courts where the judge is very states oriented, you're not just trying to fight for the jury and for your client, but sometimes you also feel like you're having to fight the judge just to get a fair shake. Without commenting on the verdict and all that, I did enjoy that exchange where the judge was given the state, what they deserved, it seemed like. Again, I obviously saw that because it made the headlines and I watched the clip and it was very entertaining, but I didn't watch enough of the trial to be able to comment on it. Same thing with Ahmaud Arbery. I'm anxiously awaiting a verdict just like everyone else is, but I didn't get to watch enough of the testimony to give an opinion as to, the performance of either side. And I see I got Mom, Sandra, and Juan Carlos. Thank y'all for watching. So next week, we don't have any trials set that I see on my calendar, so I should be here giving y'all a new video next Tuesday. So this being a short week for Thanksgiving, I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy time with your friends and family, and I will see y'all next week. Have a happy Thanksgiving.